The real reason why men date younger women. All right, let's go.
The real reason why men date younger women is not because of their physical appearance, their bodies. No, because today with plastic surgery and everything else, you barely know who is 40 and who is 18. Guys date younger women because they're easily manipulated. They're going to be very happy with a few.
What? What? Wait.
Guys date younger women because they're easily manipulated. They're gonna be very happy with a few crumbs because maybe they didn't experience much in the world. They're gonna be just easily impressed. Wow. And it's way cheaper to date a younger girl.
Okay, so this girl is either a massive troll, or she's been hurt, or she's just really good at reels because she's definitely controversial. And I really don't know the type of guy she's around, but she's not completely wrong on some of the things she says. But I would argue that on the flip side, women prefer older guys, and it's not just one side where, guys want younger girls. Her view of men is just a bunch of manipulating, power-hungry losers. That is really sad. But let's get into it. Her second point of easily manipulated just sounds like you're condescending, you're older, you're much wiser, and you're looking down at young people like, oh, you guys are so dumb and naive. And I think a lot of old people do this. And we can talk about the circumstances where there are young girls with a lot of life experience, and there's also a lot of older women with no social skills and they've been sheltered. But generally speaking, I think doesn't take a genius to know the universal truth that young people are just generally a little more naive, yes, whatever. But who in the right mind, what normal person would want a relationship with someone they can easily manipulate and control? There's no challenge, there's no relationship there. And every man wants a challenge in a relationship. They don't want a girl that's always saying yes to everything. And I think it's the same way with females too. If you have an agreeable guy that's always saying yes to everything, you'll get bored. It's human nature. You need a little bit of pushback. You need someone that's going to challenge you to grow, or else that relationship is guaranteed to fail. If you think all men are just trying to manipulate young girls, gosh, that just really tells me the type of guy she's been around, or she's being a complete troll. It's hard for me to get it. Another weird perspective is her utter disdain for young women, happy with a few crumbs because they didn't experience much. Gosh, not only is that belittling, but that's super condescending. Because in general, if someone is innocent, conservative, lives a less hedonistic lifestyle, they're just gonna appreciate more because they weren't exposed to much. But also, what if they're just more grateful? For example, it doesn't cost much to just go out there and have a hike in nature. And then if you're living in the city all the time, you're not in the forest, right? So you'll see a bird and you'll get excited and be like, oh my God, that's a fucking pretty bird. Or you'll see leaves on a tree and be like, that shit is so green. Well, you could call me immature and naive and innocent, but for me, I get super excited over things like that. And I think in general, humans are attracted to gratefulness and people that appreciate a lot. So it might not be that guys are just going for these giggly, stupid, naive little girls, but they love people who are fun and excited and just appreciate life more. And I don't think there's actually anything wrong with easily impressing someone. To me, that just means they appreciate the small things in life. I think it's a very charming characteristic. But also, I don't know what type of circles you hang around, but rich girls are born with way higher standards and they're very hard to impress. If you can't afford what they're used to and what their family has provided, it's not easy buying them a watch or whatever, because they already had that when they were 12 years old. I think regardless of youth or old or whatever it is, class plays a massive role to how you can impress someone with materialism and money. Also, it's not always poor women who are thankful and appreciative and grateful and excited at the smallest things. Like, I've dated spoiled girls who grew up poor on welfare, and some of them were like not satisfied and complaining, and they have a really negative view of the world. So all these backgrounds and things don't always determine, but generally you can kind of tell like where their ideas and motives come from. When you're dating someone who's constantly expecting much and they're constantly disappointed, they're not satisfied, they have all these desires, like, one can look at this perspective and say, oh, that's good because you shouldn't settle, right? Another person can look at this perspective and say, they are so greedy. Like, why are they never satisfied? And for me, it just depends on who you blend with. Like, if you both have the same standards, then great. You're probably going to be okay with that. You like a bougie life. But for me, I like girls that can do both. Like, we'll be in a 5-star hotel one day, and the next day we'll be sleeping on a friend's couch. Whatever it is, I like having fun, and I like to be with adventurous people because for me, I like to explore life. So I don't look at someone as you're too bougie or you're too poor or whatever it is, because for me, it's a simplistic and stupid way of viewing human beings. Why is it so wrong that humans in general want a kind, positive person? Because they're appreciative and grateful and show gratitude, all of a sudden, she's like some naive, innocent, dumb girl. And this whole like young people are cheap thing, I don't really buy it, because if you're not with a materialistic woman in general, it's just cheaper to date. Because in my personal experience, I never broke the bank dating. All of my exes helped me increase my income by supporting me in my businesses or by contributing in different ways. So let's also talk about this like dumb, young, and fun stereotype. So generally, young people in their 20s, male and female, they have a more optimistic outlook. And it's very refreshing because it's a reminder to us that there is a time when we had massive dreams and goals, And I think when you're older, you date someone younger, they kind of remind you of that, right? So people that are motivated and positive and they have large ambitions, they stay happy, they're goofy, they love life. Isn't that attractive? And don't you gravitate more toward that? And I'm not saying that older women don't have this, but I do think that those personality traits are apparent in a lot of young people more than older people. But I would also argue that women prefer older guys, and it's not just older guys trying to date younger women all the time. For example, when I was in college, all the girls would rather date seniors or guys that were already, like working their careers. And if I was in high school, girls my age would like a senior, and it was like a badge of honor if they dated a senior or someone older than them. So on the flip side, even if women make a lot, don't they want someone who can like match or provide their income? And at least someone with a lot of confidence, energy, and ambition. Like usually older guys, they have more life experience. And I think females latch onto that because it's a powerful, attractive trait. But let's just boil this down to the most sensible thing without attacking the man's desire to be a manipulating, cheap loser of a fool, okay? She makes guys out to be like a bunch of con artists. It is such an unhealthy way to see the other gender. So number one, there's just more single young people. There's just more options. More people in their late 20s, early 30s are already starting a family. The dating pool for both men and women at this age range just slims up. You have slim pickings. So imagine if you're a guy in your 40s and you want someone closer to your age, because most guys that I know, they don't want to date too young. We could hook up with younger girls, but finding things in common, life experience, having long conversations, a lot of those things, it just doesn't connect. And the same things like upbringing, like you might have some similar things you grew up on, like the same TV shows, the nostalgia that you could share, like these shared memories, right? When you're within the same generation, it just brings you closer together. I think one of the issues is that when you're in your 40s and you're out there dating, most women that are close to your age are not single. And I would argue on the flip side, the same thing. Women that are in their 30s, slim pickings for the dudes that are available. But I think the difference here is women will date up in age and guys will date down in age. Also, let's say he's in his 40s, right? And he's never married before. Let's say he was just super focused on career and whatever. Like a lot of doctors are this way. Like they finally start getting to date later on in life. Now, let's say he gets with someone who's like mid to late 20s. He's got a lot of time to still pursue his career because when you're around my age, 39, I have so many friends who are having complications with fertility, going through IVF, and it's very, very, very expensive. So if you're 40 years old, and unless you're financially stable, let's say you're just like, you went through bankruptcy, you want to try again, whatever, it becomes very complicated because both genders, right? Like guys, our sperms get fucking old as shit. And then, girls have a hard time too. So like, wouldn't you want to increase your chances by dating someone younger? And also, I'm not talking about the like small what ifs, like, oh, well, she could be unhealthy even when she's young or whatever. I'm saying generally, the scientific medical community says that after 35 years old, it's considered a geriatric pregnancy for females. It becomes very difficult to have healthier babies. Whatever it is, lifestyle, I don't know what the cause is, but that is the consensus right now. And so if family building and making a kid is one of the biggest priorities for these older guys, then wouldn't it just make more sense to increase your chances by going like younger and choosing younger women? Like obviously, if he wanted kids, he probably should have done it earlier. I mean, for me personally, I don't give a damn how old someone is, as long as it's legal. You can be an old man, young woman, old lady, young man. Who cares, right? It's hard enough to find a partner that you can be open with, vulnerable with, someone who loves you, someone who cares about you, someone you can share your life with. Those are the things you should be worrying about rather than just like, oh, they're young, they're old, this is stupid. Because what happens with this type of mentality is you have a us versus them mentality, right? Women against men against women. And then you live this bitter life thinking that people are out there to hurt you, manipulate you, use you, control you, whatever it is. But most people are not like this. Like if most people you're running into are con artists, narcissists, psychopaths, then shit, I feel bad for you because you're in a really bad circle. I don't really know that many people like that. And if I do, I run away from them. But ultimately, the real reason why men date younger women is because we're all cheap, manipulative predators that absolutely want dominance and control over these stupid little girls, right? That's the only reason why. Anyways, people, don't listen to these divisive, weird concepts that people have about strangers, guys, girls, ethnic groups, whatever. Where all my sensible people at? We gotta get all the normal folks back on YouTube, man. I know it's not entertaining because people want the shocking shit, but I really do believe videos like this just contribute to social decay and not really help humanity. I mean, she probably does think she's helping out other women by saying like, hey, this is the reason why guys do this. But if a guy did a video about why women think this way, wouldn't that just be like mansplaining and wouldn't we be attacked for that? I don't know. There is a double standard here though. So I'll tell you the real reason why men date younger women is because they're single and available and all the older ones are married. Till next time, peace.